So last night was Sting's official match in professional wrestling. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch the whole pay-per-view because, me and my mom still have to pay the cable bill. Well, more specifically, she has to do it right now since I got no money coming in. And if you guys want to help me out with that, there is my Teespring store. Link is in the description. And you can go to rumble.com and support me there as well. The more views I get over there at rumble.com, the more the finances will go up. Slowly, but they will go up. And that would be very much appreciated, as well as if you want to subscribe to my BW Roses Discussions podcast, that would help out very much as well. But right now, she's the one paying for the bills. She's helping me pay my streaming services, and all that we have, that she even enjoys. So she's helping out where she can. Because unfortunately, I have nothing coming in right now until my tax returns, until this settlement that, is going to come from my former employer, Walmart, from, a lawsuit they went through with a former employee as well. And then, of course, the tax returns and everything down the line. So financially, I'll be okay, as the weeks approach and the weeks, progress in this month. But until that time frame, right now, I can't really do much of my own accord. Now, with that said, I did get to go on social media and via Twitter/X.com. I did watch, the closing moments of the match, and Sting did go out on top, surprisingly, to the shock of a lot of folks. I'm guaranteeing, they were kind of questioning, wait a minute, if Sting's an old school kind of guy, wouldn't he want to, pass the torch on to the people that he's facing? And this was not the case. Tony Khan and his crew immediately, the moment Sting made his announcement, said, Sting, you're going out on top, you're going out a winner. And that's what happened. And Sting did have a say in what was going to be his final opponent or opponents, and that was the Young Bucks. And then apparently Revolution was moved from a location that it was going to get originally, potentially in the Midwest or Southwest or somewhere, and it was moved to Greensboro, North Carolina, for this event, because that's where Sting's career, match-wise, really took off and everything. And just, never look back. Overall, I do agree with folks when they say that Tony Khan, out of all his fangasming, if you will, his fandom-gasming, whatever you want to call it, for all his faults, the one thing he has done right is he's treated Sting, perfectly. He's basically let Sting have a say in some of the things he does. He's been very, careful on how he's booked, and how much he has to be in the ring because, of course, his limitations due to the buckle bomb in WWE. So Tony Khan has essentially treated him like gold. Now, I've said before, and, I'd still kind of stick to this, that I would not be surprised if Tony Khan wants to bring him back in a non-wrestling authority-like role. To where basically he's the good guy, he's the good babyface authority figure going up against the heelish authority figure or figures that are there. So I could see Tony Khan maybe in the future, coaxing Sting, trying to get him to come back as an authority figure, but not always have to be there in person, but just be there when he has to be, or sending video messages and so on. I could see Tony Khan wanting that to be something Sting, could be part of in the future. But yeah, there's no denying that Sting had a great career. I mean, if you want to talk about legitimately, truthfully, straight up with you, if you want to talk about one wrestler, superstar that got my attention when it came to watching WCW, even when it was still part of the NWA, if you want to talk about one superstar that did that, it was Sting. Sting was one of those guys that when you saw it, he just stood out. he just stood out and it made you want to watch that product. It made you want to watch that company and see how similar, if not different, they were from, you know, what you were watching at that time, what most people were watching at that time, being the WWF. So to see, you know, Sting be that catalyst to me, you know, watching WCW, watching, you know, NWA, WCW, and then just WCW, it's quite amazing. It's just quite amazing for me as a fan, a memory that I'm always going to enjoy. I can even say without hesitation that I was even able to see Sting in person at the Topeka, you know, Kansas Expo Center back in 1998. It was an event that my dad took me to for a graduation gift. It wasn't just for my birthday; it was a graduation gift. And what's ironic is it was a WCW live event at the Kansas Expo Center. And what's crazy about it is the next night when they were in Kansas City for Nitro, that's when the Giant, aka Paul White, aka The Big Show, turned heel and rejoined NWO Black and White. Because, you know, here I am sitting, you know, in a great section watching the event and him teaming up with Sting against, I'm assuming it was Scott Hall and Scott Norton, I think. I can't remember. And basically, you know, they won the match. Oh, no, it was Scott Hall and Bret. Was it Bret Hart? I can't remember. But anyway, they won the match. They won the match, if you will. And basically, I remember Sting, you know, being carried out. He jumps onto, you know, Giant's back and he's carried out with him to the locker room. And then all of a sudden, like I said, the next night, here comes Big Show, you know, joining the NWO Black and White. So that's like, you know, it's like 24 hours later, it's like, here's the guy that's carrying Sting on his back to the locker room after being victorious. And all of a sudden, here he is joining up with NWO Hollywood. It's like, what? What's going on here? You know. Anyway, that's a great memory I had. You know, seeing him in TNA and what he did for TNA/Impact was great. You know, I liked how he kind of blurred the lines of face and heel during that whole situation when he was trying to expose, you know, Immortal for who they really were and such. So that was great. And, you know, his run in WWE, yeah, it wasn't probably the best, but just to see him walk through the curtains of WWE and take part in that company finally, that was nice to see. You know, I'll definitely always remember that moment, just like anybody else. I watched it live like anybody else did. And then, of course, you know, his run in AEW, again, great run, you know, and Tony Khan, again, credit where credit is due, booked him very well. He could have said, hey, I'm going to make you the world champ, and that's it, no matter how much you protest, but he didn't do that. He let Sting do his own thing out of respect for the guy and for what he's, you know, meant to the sport. And it's just, you know, a perfect send-off, in my opinion. Just a perfect send-off. Again, I'm not going to be surprised if he tries to bring him back as an authority figure, but that might not be for a long time. But anyway, those are just my memories of Sting. Let me know what your memories are.